I'm Glenn.
I'm Michael.
This is Legally Speaking. We're going to talk a little bit today about estate taxes and farm ground prices and maybe a little hoops.
All right. Has anything changed on estate tax exclusion amounts?
Those have remained relatively the same. So there's a combined gift and estate tax where we live, and there's a federal exemption amount and there's a state exemption amount. And the federal exemption amount is about 11.7 million per person. So if your total gross assets at your death are less than that amount, you're exempt from federal tax. In Illinois, one of probably 3 to 5 states in our wonderful union that has its own individual state estate tax. The state of Illinois has an exemption amount of $4 million per person. And if your total gross assets are less than that at death, you're exempt from taxes.
So if a couple has an estate that's worth about $10 million gross, will there be a federal estate tax due?
No.
But there will be an Illinois estate tax due.
Yes.
So in theory, you could owe an estate tax to the state of Illinois, but not to the United States government.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I see that a lot. The federal estate tax system has portability. So if you're a couple that has $10 million and first person passes away, whatever of their 11.7 million they don't use, if there's the correct, elections made on the return, the survivor can utilize the rest of the first person to die's exemption amount.
So the first spouse to die, you still need to file an estate tax return with the IRS and elect that portability to preserve it, right?
To preserve it. And there's other stipulations, I think one of the stipulations is you can't get remarried if you want to use that remaining amount. But that federal exemption amount is high enough where it doesn't affect very many people, certainly on a day-to-day basis that we encounter. But the state exemption does not have portability. So if you don't use it, you lose it.
And so everybody is looking around and seeing houses for sale in Logan County, Central Illinois, maybe Illinois in general. Residential property keeps going up. How's farm ground going right now?
Through the roof.
So land, they don't make more of it, do they?
No.
Okay.
Pretty finite.
Okay.
But the price of real estate in general, farm ground or residential, I think has just been going up and up and up over the last year, 2 years, exponentially over the last year probably.
When I started practicing in 2016, 5 years ago, rule of thumb I was always taught is about $10,000 an acre for farm ground.
That's probably pretty close.
What's it at now?
I heard of a sale recently within the last couple weeks that a farm in Logan County sold for $16,500 an acre.
So that's over half of the original 10,000 if people were doing their estate planning 5 years ago and they're Illinois residents, Illinois property, and they own 40 acres, they're at about what, 400,000?
Yeah, they were. Now it's, times 1.6 now. It's a lot, and it adds up pretty quickly when you're talking about farm ground. And things have changed. Things have changed over the last couple of years where if you have 200 or 300 acres of farm ground that you own, you have a taxable estate in the state of Illinois, and there's planning that needs to be done and can be done to avoid that tax. Certainly in the event that you're married, you can try to do some planning to avoid that tax and utilize the exemption to the greatest extent possible of the first person to die. There's other things that you can do, and I feel like we say this a lot, but every situation is different. um,
In the law, everything depends. I think that was the common answer in law school when a professor asked a question. Your response was always, well, it depends. And I think that we experience that day to day when we meet with clients. And, everybody's situation is different. Everybody's family dynamic is different. You have families that get along great. You have families that don't speak to each other for decades at a time. So every situation is unique. We have to continuously watch for any updates to our state tax laws, our federal tax laws. There was rumblings about the elimination of the step up in basis. There was rumblings about a tax on unrealized capital gains. Nothing's happened yet. The only thing that we can prepare for our clients is what we know the law as it exists now. So from time to time, we've advised our clients to review their estate planning documents. Like we talked about a few moments ago, 5 years ago, somebody may have been below the estate tax exemption amount, and now as real estate, especially farm ground, continues to appreciate, they may be above and beyond that level. And I think that's what a lot of what Blend does, and what I do sometimes, and what our new employee will also do, is help our clients plan and address those issues to make sure everybody is has the highest net dollar amount at the end of the day.
Well, and it's, when you're dealing with married individuals, I guess it's important to mention that there's an unlimited exemption for assets that you leave to a spouse. So take an example. Married couple has $5 million in assets total. First person dies and they have a will that says, I leave everything I own to my spouse. Pretty standard. If you didn't have a taxable estate, that wouldn't be a problem at all. But when the survivor dies now, the survivor is going to own all of the assets that both of them owned, and they have a taxable estate. And we were talking before we got on here, and I kept it up on my phone. There's a calculator that the great state of Illinois provides that tells you what the tax on that estate would be. And on a $5 million estate, the state of Illinois would collect a tax in the amount of $285,714. And for married people that have that level of assets, that could be totally avoided. I mean, that could be zero if it was done correctly. So we could, in a couple meetings with clients, probably save 6 figures of tax down the road, and that's not going to matter necessarily to the person that's dead, but it's certainly going to matter to the people that are still here. And so a little bit of planning, I think, goes a long way in everyone's scenario, but in those scenarios, it's a lot of dollars tied to it.
I think Illinois is doing a lot of planning this year.
Planning on how not to work, planning on how not to function. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we were just talking before we came on too about a couple of state tax returns that we do have pending with the state of Illinois. They're still working on 2020 returns through the AG's office, so anything that was filed this year was likely not even to be assigned or reviewed by the state until the middle of next year. So most service industries are slow these days. State is no different.
Yep, it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's hurry up and wait. I mean, it doesn't change the deadlines that they impose. If you ask for an extension, you have to pay the tax at the time that you request the extension, but then they wait, 2 years to review the thing, and I guess that's acceptable. So we sit and we wait, but there is some planning that we can do in the meantime, and hopefully avoid that altogether. So hoops are back.
Yeah, Sparty went down last night. U of I played pretty well. They playing B squad, Jackson State.
Won by what, 30?
Yeah, I stopped watching. Kofi wasn't playing. Corbella wasn't playing. Trent Frazier wasn't playing.
And we've got to watch the Coach K Celebrity Tour all year, it looks like.
Yep, they started that about 2 hours before his first game tipped off last night. So
that's all right. I like Coach K. I don't know that I want to watch it all season long.
Jammed down your throat.
I'm sure we'll get it though. I didn't know Dickie V had cancer.
Yeah, prostate cancer. I think he's going through treatment. He's a Twitter user. He frequently posts updates there.
Well, I hope that all goes well. It'll be good to see him back in there and start hearing from him again.
Yeah, they were saying last night that college basketball coaches are most likely going to do away with wearing suits. I don't know if you noticed last night, most of them were wearing like a track jacket.
Yeah, I did see that.
They said suits in the college basketball arena may go away.
Well, I don't think they're going to go away for us anytime soon.
Not in our profession.
We'll keep the dry cleaners in business. All right, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.